Well. How about that game? Notre Dame beating Florida State 41-38 in overtime. Just a crazy game, really from start to finish. Notre Dame, again, just pulling out a wild one. I don't even really know where to start, Tim, but just uh, wow. What are kind of your opening thoughts here? I'm Mike Singer, Blue and Gold recruiting insider. Tim Hyde, longtime college football coach, JUCO coach, high school coach in the state of California, longtime Notre Dame follower. Initial thoughts on the game, Tim? I'm sure you could go for a while talking about this one.
Well, I mean, it's basically what I said the other day when you and I chatted. Is you got to win game one. Remember, I literally said I just got to win game one. No matter what happens, don't worry about the point spreads, things of that nature. You got to win game one. And lo and behold, Notre Dame won game one. And I heard Brian Kelly talk about that in the post game there with ABC about, hey, it's a lot better to make adjustments, watch film after a win than it is a loss, even though it was a hard fought 3-pointer that I'm sure the diehard Notre Dame fans felt like they were watching 2011 Notre Dame and Michigan there in the chicken dance game. So that's what it felt like watching that fourth quarter. Desmond Robinson going off in 11, but thought Mackenzie Melton was turning into Desmond Robinson once again. But heck of a football game. There's no doubt about that.
Definitely. We'll appreciate everyone who has joined us live so far for our post-game show here. Appreciate you guys watching us live again. If you're watching back the replay of it, appreciate you guys as well if you're listening via podcast channel on Sunday or Monday. Really appreciate that as well. Definitely hit the super chat, to help support what we're doing here at Blue and Gold. We're going to discuss some various topics at the top of the show here, but we are very easily bought. If you want to drop us a super chat, we will get to your comment right away. So, Mr. Martin, we appreciate the super chat. It says, does it seem like the offensive play calling was all over the place and the defensive play calling in the fourth quarter was atrocious? I guess let's just get right into this, and we appreciate the super chat and comment, Mr. Martin. When I was taking notes, Tim, Notre Dame goes up 38-20. I tweeted out from the Blue and Gold Twitter account, Notre Dame is rolling. Notre Dame had such a great first drive of the game, and then that third quarter, they had 3 straight drives with touchdowns. Let me pull up the drive chart. Look at that. 4 plays, 75 yards, 7 plays, 69 yards, 3 plays, 32 yards, all scores there. Just really impressive. I mean, what changed? What happened, Tim?
Well, I mean, number one, obviously it was a tight nail biter at halftime. I think Notre Dame went in there, regrouped, and they came out, barnstorming that third quarter, jumped up really big time. And then, I mean, you had back-to-back drives. I know I was, texting with you talking about, I thought they looked tired and gassed on Notre Dame's D. They gave up 75, and you go give up 75 yards, 88 yards, back-to-back drives. It was the edges. I thought Notre Dame started to give up the edges. You go back and watch some of it, just some of the notes I was taking as well is, Travis was running outside. They were getting outside a little bit. The ends were going underneath blocks. And then I know the strength is Notre Dame's defense or their D line, and they started going to more of a 3-man front, it looked like, and whatnot. And their 3 linebackers. It looked like they had Kaiser, Bertrand, and Bauer out there, quite a bit. Bauer and White rotating here and there. But hey, it's emotion. I mean, so much of this football game was also, I know some of the comments that we were chatting about the other day in our preview show was the emotion. Yeah, Florida State just played their tails off, and they just refused to lose. When it was 38-20, they could have folded. They could have, this could have been the last 3 years of Florida State, and it wasn't. And they just went right down the field, scored. Then, once again, then Notre Dame goes 3 and out. Boom, Florida State goes 88 yards. And it was just, it's momentum. It's college football. It's game one. It's, 95% humidity, whatever it was down in Tallahassee. And so much of those things start to add up. It's game one. It was Florida State's, Super Bowl. They got Jacksonville State next. So I think they went all in on this game, and Notre Dame came away with the win. So at the end of the day, it's all that matters.
It's funny, Tim. You've referenced our pregame show that we posted on Friday a couple times now, and you just said, yeah, it's game one. Just get out of there with the win. You're a football coach. You know that. I've heard several other football coaches talk about high school ball for their game ones, just win. That's really all that matters. Get out of there with the win. For most of this game, I felt like Notre Dame was. I didn't have any doubt until that last drive. Notre Dame was lucky to, that FSU just kicked field goal, and then in overtime, it was like, man, this Notre Dame defense looked gassed, but they held up. The J.D. Bertrand blitz, what a crazy sequence that was. Let me get to that real quick.
Sure.
Got a couple super chats. Bill Mahoney dropping us a quick 5-spot. Really appreciate that. If you have a question, make sure you let us know. Tom, appreciate it there as well. Joseph dropping a super chat. They're just rolling in at this point, guys. We really appreciate this. Tons of questions. Huge group with us today. Jacob Dunn, we will get to your question here in just a second. The DJ air horn's going crazy. But that J.D. Bertrand blitz in overtime, just crazy, right? So it was called a fumble. So it was a 50-yard field goal. The Florida State kicker makes it. But the play's called dead. FSU challenges it. They win the challenge on the tuck rule. Ball gets marched up to the 37, and then the kid misses it. And then Notre Dame's, I talked about that 38-20. Notre Dame defense stunk the rest of the game. Other than that overtime drive, defense, stood up. Notre Dame offense stunk too, even in that the overtime drive. Very vanilla. A run up the middle that stopped. I actually like the play call on the boot. Throw it out to Mayer. Get the ball to your best player. Safe play. Florida State player made a nice play on the ball. And then I guess on that third down, Tommy Rees basically was like, let's just keep the ball in the right hash for Jonathan. Maybe pick up a few yards. Any thoughts on that? I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up. And any thoughts on that kind of?
Well, the third down play is, they kept it on the right hash, and usually you want to put the ball down the middle of the field. So they went ultra vanilla, just like unless that's what Dorr said. Is
I think that's what I would guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because they didn't even attempt to even get it. I mean, they just basically just a rugby play. Let's just go over there and kill clock and kick a field goal. But who would have thought that really maybe the hidden play of the game was the Houston Griffith blitz that knocked Travis out of the game? Because it felt like Notre Dame was in complete control of this game, just all game. Even when it was tight or when they were down early, you just always felt like, all right, Notre Dame's going to do this. They're going to do that. They're going to rally. Florida State had a couple big plays, obviously some nice things that they were doing. And then Houston Griffith just, Coach Freeman brings them way up, way from deep safety, knocks Travis's helmet off. He's out. Mackenzie Melton comes in like it's a Disneyland movie and just goes off. What was it? It was someone had posted it was 60 days, something like that he had not played. So, and he comes in and was just magical. Just magical. Looked like his Central Florida days,
Yep, certainly hats off to Mackenzie Milton, the FSU coaching staff, players. Heck of a game, great college football game. Super chat here from Jacob Dunn. Again, appreciate it. He says, without signing hyperbolic, is this the weakest O-line unit Notre Dame has had in years? Now, Tim, you were texting me earlier in the game. I know you love O-line play. That's your bread and butter. You were watching Blake Fisher closely. He went down. Michael Carmody replaced him at left tackle. I mean, it would be tough to say whether or not this is a weak O-line or not after one game. But when you look at the stats, oh, man. I mean, Notre Dame is run the football, right? Net rushing yards, 65 on 35 attempts. Now, there's a couple sacks in there. The college football stats, they don't adjust for sacks like the NFL does, but average, I mean, look at that one. That's 2 yards a pop. That's not very good. So what are your thoughts on the O-line in the rushing game?
Well, I mean, they had some nice runs at times, obviously, but overall, when I was watching it early on, I thought the guard play was kind of average. I thought Zeke Correll got pushed around a little bit. once again, he's on the lighter side compared to what they, compared to Aaron Banks and Tommy Kramer the last few years, and even Madden. I mean, Madden is a good little, bull in a china shop, so to speak. Fire plug type guy in there. I thought he played hard, but at the same time, Florida State just played vicious up front. I mean, they were just loading the box, and they got some dudes that played man, and they were just like, we're going to play man all over the place and load the box and come after you. I thought Tyree, I think had one nice run early in the game. Other than that, I thought he tiptoed a little bit. Kyron Williams he ran hard. And, but then the other thing, the hidden, once again, this 2021 football team is going to have, you're not going to have Ian Book. I mean, Cone, to be very nice, can't run.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
He does things that Book can't. That touchdown pass to Austin,
Sure.
How often did we see that with Ian Book?
Well, he is really good that mid-range. I mean, he's got some nice touch. He can't throw deep. I think we kind of saw his limitations on how far he can throw the vertical pass.
Are you talking about on the last play of the game, the pick?
Well, no, not even that. The Lindsey one. I mean, Lindsey runs by the corner and he underthrows him.
Yeah.
I think that was in but I'd have to check the notes on that one. But Lindsey just runs right by the corner and he underthrows him. So I don't know. But I'm not worried about the Hail Mary pass, but but even that was 10, 15 yards short.
He was throwing. He wasn't set up.
No, he was just he was just checking up. But going back to the O-line, I thought Fisher was playing really good. If you go back and watch the first half, Fisher was really, really good, and he got hurt. I know I sent you that picture. I noticed it. Carmody was in the next series. I did a quick rewind there, and it looked like his own guy hit him. What happened? Williams and Kane Madden had picked up a blitz.
Quick update from Brian Kelly's press conference. Patrick Angle, beat writer, BlueandGold.com, just tweeted out, Brian Kelly said Blake Fisher has a strain in his knee, no ACL or MCL damage. So that is great news.
That's huge. That's huge because you could tell. I mean, he's stone number 11. Just put him in his spot on that touchdown to Wilkins, and it looked like Madden was blocking a guy and it looked like he ran into Fisher. So. Carmody obviously played good, but he's the third tackle. Got beat up by a true freshman, but Fisher's going to be a great football player, But overall, I thought Mayer had some outstanding blocks outside. Obviously, got to go back and rewatch some of it, but
his drops. Oh, man.
His drops. He had literally three drops. Obviously, the one at the end, he had a first down one early in the game. He had another one. He had 3 drops tonight. 3 drops that all would have been first down plays.
We'll appreciate everyone who has joined us so far. Got a huge group here live with us on YouTube. If you're here watching us live or watching it back, please hit that thumbs up on this video to help support what we're doing here at Blue and Gold. If you're listening via podcast, please leave us a good review. Go to blueandgold.com for all the coverage. Tyler Hortka, Patrick Angle do a really good job covering You're Fighting Irish. We've got another super chat here. Sorry about this, the delay in posting this here, Richard. Definitely appreciate the super chat. This is something that I texted you about, Tim, was this goes back to that 38-20, unless they went to a three-man down before that. But it seemed like that's when they really went to that, whether it's a 3-4, 3-3-5. It just seemed like very vanilla coaching, and kind of what they were trying to do on defense. So Richard says, can someone please tell me why we were 3 down while being extremely tired? Yeah, they definitely looked gassed out there. Freeman hype was too crazy. Was the moment too big for this guy? The game was in hand, and 3 down let them back in it. Thoughts here, Tim? I mean, this is a tough question to answer.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
Hey, I've already, the Freeman hype. Yeah, it's a bit crazy. There's no doubt about it. I mean, but I think his hype's been more on the recruiting trail. He's been unbelievable on the recruiting trail, and obviously had a really good. He's built a solid defense at Cincinnati, no doubt about that. But no, I don't think the moment was too big. You go back, and I'm sitting there watching this football game, and they kept giving up the edges and the counter. They gave up some of those big counter runs that they gave up tonight were against 3 down linebackers trying to extend out, to buzz outside for pass coverage and whatnot. There was a lot of times he only had 1 linebacker in the box, and it looked like Florida State was just checking to the run, going outside.
Yeah,
but a lot of it, me, was the edges. They gave up the edges a lot, in the 3 down linemen.
Chief Brody, Marcus Van Gorder. We saw someone comment that. I don't know if it was you, Chief, or somebody else earlier in the show. And I mean, I don't care who you are. That's funny. Like that's
Yeah, that's
that's
funny.
funny.
That's funny.
All
There's
right,
no doubt about it. That's funny.
I got man a lot to talk about. Jack, let's just go to Jack Coan. I mean, I know we've touched on him, but
Sure.
in the arm strength and whatnot, but those numbers, goodness gracious, let me pull them up here. I mean, outstanding. 26 of 35. And I mean, they were even better earlier in the game through like 3 quarters or so. It was like 4 completions. 26
Yeah.
35, 366, 4 touchdowns. The pick was, on the last play of regulation, so can't hold that against them.
Yep.
I mean, if you're a Notre Dame fan, are you feeling better about Coan than you did before this game? Like, what's your opinion? I mean, what did you really learn from Jack Coan?
You know what? I mean, seriously, watching him, I felt like it was, him at Wisconsin. I watched some of his Wisconsin games before.
Is that a good
I mean,
thing? Is that a bad thing?
you know what? He's really good within certain, markers on the football field. He throws some really good balls, no doubt about that. Even, a couple of those night, I mean, the catch by Wilkins was unbelievable. Even Austin's touchdown was great. I thought early on, they went way too much to Michael Mayer. I mean, they were just, I mean, that's probably why he had drops. The poor guy's exhausted. And I mean, it seemed like what do you have? 9 catches right there. It looked like they went
targets.
to Mayer. Oh my, it felt like 22 watching the game. And it looked like they went to him a little bit early. That was probably nitpicking. I mean, he threw behind the first down marker a couple times, probably released it too quick. But and then I know you and I had chatted at halftime about the targets to the wide receivers. Very, very limited in the first half. You get I mean, the ball game was built around getting it to the backs and Michael Mayer, and only a couple targets. I know Lindsey only had he had one catch in the first half. Wilkins had no targets. I believe Austin only had one in the first half as well. But they got some wide receivers. I thought they were going to go up top more early on, and it looked like they milked it, wanted to go short and go from there. And their strength is Mayer and Kyron Williams, no doubt about that.
All right, we got another super chat here from Frankie. That DJ Airhorn is getting its work in today. Big super chat here. Really appreciate this. He says, "Go Irish! Win is a win. I'll take it." Cheers from Hong Kong. Frankie H. Notre Dame class of 2007. Really appreciate the support here, Frankie.
Nice.
Hope you're enjoying the show here. What about Kyle Hamilton? We got to talk about just how good that dude is at football. That interception. I really wish I could play the video, but as soon as I do, I would get a copyright strike from ESPN. Yeah. So I don't want that to happen. But let's pull up the defense.
Well, both of them. I mean, both of them were out. I mean, obviously the one coming from the other side. It's like, I mean, come on. I mean, that's like, I mean, that's. I mean, what do you? I mean, I'm like lost for words. That was like when you saw that, and you're like, really, really? That was unbelievable football play, no doubt about that. Yeah. I mean, both of them were amazing and outstanding. He's so athletic. The one touchdown they hit, the big touchdown where they ran by Houston on the, we call that a push fade, where the slot runs right by a fade right past Houston, where I don't know if you saw the TV where they were literally reading Kyle Hamilton's eyes, making him jump one way and he's wide open. That was just like the ACC championship game there against Clemson when Trevor Lawrence did the same thing to him and they beat Sean Crawford. But he's a freakish athlete. Going back is when they started doing a lot of the 3-man front, Kyle Hamilton was down in the box. I was surprised he wasn't playing a little bit more deeper than that, but they had him down in the box a lot in that during FSU's comeback.
Yeah. Well, I think we got another super chat. We are really rolling in here. Bill, dropping us another one. We really appreciate this. He said Notre Dame needs to provide post-game counseling if they're going to let opponents back in the game. And Florida State even had that. They went for it at their own 30-something yard line. So desperate in the third quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about if I believe Notre Dame scored a touchdown after that drive. Just think about if
Yeah.
the Irish weren't gifted that one. Such a crazy football game. Um, I don't know if
I
you
mean,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead,
No,
Tim.
no, I was gonna say no. You're right. When you say crazy football game, it was just it was it's interesting because it was so many things I was like thinking about coming into this game. It's just the emotion. It just felt like Florida State was just not going to quit. They just kept coming and coming. But at the same token, you got to give Coach Kelly a high five in them because they pulled it out. They pulled it out, and that goes back to the Brian Kelly 2.0, where the reboot since 2017, the mental makeup of this program since the 2016 meltdown is exactly what happened. They hunkered down, they made the stop on D, and they win it in OT.
So here's a question for you, Tim. You remember that Louisville game last year? Irish won 12-7. I
Yeah,
think Ben Skoranek was the leading receiver with like, at least of the receiver group, with like 2 catches for 20 yards. Like it was a really ugly win at home.
yep.
Take the home field advantage out of it, right? Because obviously a road win is going to be more impressive than a home win. But would you rather
Sure.
have like that grinded out, ugly defensive struggle game, or something like this where your offense is great but your defense is not very good? I mean, for me, it's an offensive game now. I feel like I'd rather see my offense, rocking, and the defense can figure it out. But vice versa, I wouldn't feel so comfortable. What do you think as a football coach, Tim?
Well, no, I mean, tonight is going to be, I mean, there's 1,000 messages that Coach Kelly and the staff are going to have, but it goes back to they won. They're going to get back to South Bend at 5 a.m. They got to do a quick turnaround, get ready, for Toledo next week. But believe me, it's a heck of a lot more fun to do everything after a win. And I think even in this game, I think they're going to come out of it with way more positives because as you and I were talking, I'm sure people that were watching the game and all that, they felt like Notre Dame just like went to a different level in the third quarter. And how do we
Right.
just keep that going? And that's going to be a learning thing. Maybe instead of taking the gas off, they just, if they would have just kept going, and instead of relenting, but at the same time, the humidity, the heat, maybe they did too much stuff on defense. Maybe, that's another learning thing out of game one.
All right, we do got another super chat here. Everyone, appreciate everyone who's with us live. Hit that thumbs up on this video. If you're watching back, continue to hit that thumbs up for us if you haven't yet. Ryan, I love this comment. Like, calm down, give Freeman time. He doesn't even have his own personal time yet. That's funny. Look.
Oh, personnel. He says
Oh,
personnel. So,
I thought he meant like personal time. Like he can't even
uh,
like take a vacation day yet because he's so new on the job. I thought that's what he meant,
yeah,
but
no,
personnel.
I hear
Okay,
you.
that makes sense. And that's also true. Um, I mean, look, I had joked about everyone's loving Freeman in the offseason, but once he gives up a first down or a field goal, everyone's going to be calling for his job. I didn't. I mean, I predicted 27-20. Like I thought it was going to be a much more defensive game than 41-38. You liked Notre Dame to cover, but I know
Hmm.
you kind of just threw your score prediction together. You didn't
Yeah,
because it was
exactly.
like the
What was it?
first game, but
Yeah, 35-26, 36-26. Well, it
yeah.
was something like that I did real quick. So,
Charles, appreciate this. 3-3-5 against run. Obvious offensive attack is hurtful without making a single adjustment is painful. Clark Lee and Elko always adjusted to gameplay. I mean, are you concerned much about the defense? I mean,
no.
any thoughts to
Uh,
this comment?
no. I'm not concerned about the defense because I think so much of it was just some basic fundamentals. I think that's what they're going to see that on film. What I saw watching live and rewinding on a few key plays and all that is the edges. They gave up the edges at times, and even on the big counter run, they only had one linebacker in the box on the big counter run. They had one guy fit, and I think it was Drew White was trying to come all the way across from the other side, from the Y side, and couldn't get there. And Hart got turned around in the boundary corner. Got turned around. The guy runs 89 yards. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about this game. No, if we came away from one thing tonight, when Notre Dame's D line was monsters.
Yes.
Those dudes were getting after it. And I know I sent you a text like I was a little concerned about MTA moving from 3 tech to DN. That dude could play. He's going to be an NFL strong side defensive end. He's a heck of a football player.
And Tim's super chat from Tim McCarthy, really appreciate it. He says, how about not taking the foot off of the gas pedal? That goes back to that 38 to 20. I felt that the offense and defense, kind of got vanilla and conservative. I mean, am I crazy here, Tim Hyde?
No, you're not crazy. I mean, we all saw it. We all saw it. And all it takes is just one drive. And FSU got the one drive. But also going back, a big part of it was, let's don't forget the if I could say it, the brutal call by the ref. The punter, Bramlett, gets destroyed and it's a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah.
If Notre Dame gets the 15-yarder, who's to say they don't go down, they're right back up by a couple scores, game's over. You still have to punt. It's the momentum. FSU just had momentum, and in college football, that is real in college football.
All right. Well, keep sending in the super chats, guys. We will get to your questions right away. Got one other topic I wanted to get to before we just go into straight questions from our YouTube audience, and I wanted to talk about the Notre Dame receiving group. It seemed a little bit like a continuation of last year when it comes to it's Mayer, it's Tremble last year obviously, but he's no longer on the team. He's with the Panthers now in the NFL. It's the tight ends and the running backs and not a ton to the receivers. You got Michael Mayer targeted 13 times, Kyron Williams 6 times. Now it was Kevin Austin was the one that they targeted a good bit. Braden Lenzy, 2 receptions, 39 yards on 3 targets. Joe Wilkins, one of my guys. I love Joe Wilkins. Yeah. Got in there and made that heck of a play with 2 guys around him. Wasn't the best ball from Cone, but Wilkins just made a big time play. I mean, right now with the receiving group, just the receivers, right? That doesn't include all pass catchers. It seems like Kevin Austin and then a bunch of dudes, like Avery Davis. I love Avery Davis. He was missing in action in terms. He didn't get a single target.
No, and that's surprising. Some of the plays Avery Davis made last year were outstanding. And I was even saying that during the game, like, where's Avery Davis? Just a quick something to him, let him run because he is fast. Yeah. Even down the middle, I was kept waiting for a play action. I know the announcers had talked about that a few times. Oh, this is a good time for a play action. It's like, where's the Avery Davis? The big pass he caught against Clemson. But you're right, none. Even Wilkins, for the amazing catch he made, he only got one shot. And then Lenzy, I know he had the 2 catches and then the one underthrow. There's the other guy who's fast as could be. Notre Dame's got some outside guys. There's no doubt about that. So I was a little surprised early that they just didn't go up top and try and just boom, take this game over right away.
I hope the DJ air horn for people listening, watching this, I hope it's not like too loud. It's like just, it's freaking you out every time we play because we've been playing it a lot here. Chris says, this is a great point. If FSU doesn't botch the PAT, they win by a point. When was that? Did you remember?
They also got a 2-pointer. Let's don't forget.
Yeah, so that's one of those things. I can't remember what quarter it happened, but I feel like it was early enough in the game that, if that PAT wasn't botched, something else would have happened that would have changed the game as well. But I see what you're saying, Chris. Definitely a good point. Appreciate the super chat, Charles. Going back to the 4 down linemen, it's such a strength of the team. I don't know why they went to more 3 down, but Charles Clark says 4 down and a linebacker down to set the edge. Our D linemen were savages tonight. Just need a little bit of support. They were great. Riley Mills played well coming into the game. Foskey was great. MTA. Pull up his stats.
Here. He was just. Yeah, exactly.
He had 1 tackle and that was it. But it seemed that he did things outside the box score. Yeah.
Oh, but he was just blowing tackles backwards. Same thing with Heinisch inside. And that's going back to, I know I made the comment a couple minutes ago about fundamentals was the edges, but even the tackles. You go back. I mean, it looked like Notre Dame had a half a dozen TFLs, tackles for losses and some sacks where they just let him scramble outside a few times. Notre Dame's front is real.
Yeah.
Those guys could play.
Deep. It's deep too.
Yes.
I mean, Notre Dame was out. Jordan Patelho today. Don't have the details on why he was out. Also, Logan Diggs and Sibo Flemister, your 4 and 3 running backs, respectively, also were out. Super chats flying in. Appreciate you guys watching. We will be doing this after every game this season, 15 minutes afterwards. Blue and Gold will be going live on YouTube to live react and take your questions. Pete says, thanks, Mike and Tim. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Been talking too much. Rest in peace, Coach Bobby Bowden. Yeah, that was Florida State's first game since Coach Bowden's passing. Also want to mention this was, our first, game covering Notre Dame football without Lou Emoji. Very emotional. When I was reminded of that, it's tough. Just the other day, I wanted to call Lou about something. I picked up my phone and I was like, I don't know if I can curse on here. I don't know if YouTube will censor me, but
no, he's the best. There's no doubt about it. He's the best.
Yeah,
he's the best.
Miss Lou Emoji. Lou, hope you were able to watch this game in heaven and enjoy that you didn't have to stay up until 5 a.m. Tonight and into the morning writing stories for our magazine. Another super chat here. Jacob Dunn, hearing Patelho, Baum, and Moala might have gotten banged up, which was personnel limits in the second half, which led to Marcus's shift. Patelho definitely, he just didn't play. Moala, I did see on social media.
He was in a boot.
Yeah, he was in a boot. Bauman's a tight end, so I'm not sure if you're referring to someone else maybe. So did personnel limit it? I don't know.
No. I think they're guys, the guys that, we've been hearing about all camp and whatnot, and Coach Kelly's talked about, those are the dudes that played. There was no secret guy out there or whatnot. I thought everyone we expected to play played. I thought one of the big stars tonight, just real quick, was how about Pryor?
Yeah,
the speed he showed. That guy was. Yeah. My God, he could run fast straight line, can't he? Oh.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the snap counts and who played the most at that rover position. Hey, you know what we haven't done yet is give some major kudos to Jonathan Duoer. I know we mentioned that he was. I thought he was really good in 2019. 2020 wasn't as good. He comes back, takes that extra year of COVID eligibility, and seems like he's back to his form in 2019. Rock star, made 2 field goals. Kids got stones. Good for him.
Yeah. Wasn't he Blue and Gold's number 25?
He was. He was in our top 25.
Top 25.
And that's why you see it today.
There you go.
All right. Well, let's get into questions. Of course, if you want to guarantee we'll answer your question, drop that super chat. Really appreciate you guys supporting us, what we're doing here at Blue and Gold. Scrolling through, lots of comments, loving up Loose Emoji. Continue to keep his family in your thoughts and prayers as well as us at Blue and Gold, because we certainly miss his leadership and not only his content, because the dude was just an animal. Certainly miss him. What happened to Fisher? Jeffrey asks. I know you replayed. I didn't get to see exactly what happened. Tell us what happened, and then I want to hear your thoughts on Michael Carmody, because I know there was some bad from Carmody, where he pinched a little too far inside and basically let a free rusher go to Cone. But then he also had that he pancaked number 11, Jermaine Johnson, I believe. So what happened to Fisher, and what do you think about Carmody?
Well, Fisher got hurt on the Wilkins touchdown. So I'm sitting there watching, and you see the whole team, running down there, and you don't see 54, who, by the way, I know you've met. How big is that guy?
So I'm 6'2", and a little bit more heavy than I would like to be. Let's just leave it at that. Blake made me feel like a shrimp. The first The
Oh,
first time I met him was it was October last year, and I'm like looking up to him. The first 5 to 10 minutes or so, I'm just talking about like, holy crap, you're freaking huge. Yeah, he's a big dude,
he,
even bigger personality. Love
oh,
him. He's gonna make some
I mean,
NIL money for sure.
oh, he's so big. I mean, I know I keep comparing him to Orlando Pace. Anyone out there, if you don't know who Orlando Pace is or whatnot, I mean, just seriously, just Google both of them. Those two guys are twins. They're unbelievable. He was playing his tail off, by the way, before he got hurt. I think the first run play went away from him. He got blown backwards. Outside of that, he was playing his tail off, and they even had a couple nice runs behind him. Him and Mayer were sealing the edges a few times. But what happened on the Wilkins touchdown? So the very next series, they get the ball, and I see Carmody in 68, and I was like, whoa! So I just hit pause real quick, rewound, see what was going on, and I didn't see, like I told you, 54 running down there in the touchdown, and then finally in the blip, you could see him. He stuffs number 11, Johnson, the Georgia transfer who just had a field day today, stuffs him on the touchdown pass. And then out of the blink of the eye, Kyron Williams, it looked like Kane Madden were blocking a guy, and it looked like Madden ran into Fisher's knee.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he was on the ground. They picked him up. Didn't see him walking in at halftime or any of that stuff. So they must have got him in the locker room immediately, to take x-rays and things of that nature. But I thought he was playing outstanding. Fingers crossed he gets back, because that dude's he's a top 10 draft pick. He's going to be unbelievable. And I thought Carmody played well. He's the third tackle. He's a redshirt freshman out there, was busting his tail. Go back on the 1 yard line run Kyron Williams has and watch Carmody just flat back Johnson. Just put him on his back. Nice.
Nice save there, Tim.
Yeah, to be nice. But he played good. He gave up 1 sack, probably came inside, probably thought he had help. It's all those little technical things us as watching the game probably aren't aware of. But we got to get Fisher back. He's a bona fide star.
Another super chat here. Michael McKinley, really appreciate this. The defensive line was great. Then the linebackers weren't doing their jobs. Who was responsible for the big runs? That's putting you on the spot, Tim. Any thoughts?
They ran some counters. The DNs, were wrong arming, spilling it outside, and some of those were, when they were in their nickel. So they had more DBs out there. You could go back and see a little bit and whatnot. So the linebacker, a lot of times, they always had one. He was blowing it up, but they're always a gap short. They're always a body short on the edges out there at times. So could have been the DB. The corner support was one time with Cam Hart. I know a DJ Brown whiffed on one.
Yeah,
that just busted outside. So
and I remember on that one, Shane Simon seemed to miss the tackle, but he was getting held like crazy. So it was crazy. It was wild that he was able to even get an arm on Corbin, the running back, because he was being held so bad. But I digress.
And that Corbin's a tank. That's a big dude. He's a tank.
Yeah. Couple injury updates. We did get the question earlier about Bauman. I was thinking that you maybe confused him for someone else that earlier poster. But he's not either way going to make a huge impact whether he's in there or not on the offense. But injury updates from Kelly's tweet from Patrick Engel on Paul Moala. Kelly said he's going to have an MRI. It didn't look good for Paul, so keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And Kevin Bauman has a knee injury and will need an X-ray. So that is the update there on a couple of injuries. All right, continuing down the comments, just tons and tons of them. Really appreciate everyone who has joined us live here. Let's go back to this scene. Scroll around, guys. Coach Humph. How likely is Combs' arm strength and mobility widen the door to allow snaps for Buckner to play at some point this season? Not a starter, just situationally. Love all the work you guys do. We appreciate the comment, Coach Humph. What do you think, Tim? You seem like you have an opinion.
Yeah, why would you? There's no. If you're going to get Buckner a few, go out and blow some of these teams out. That you're going to blow them out and let him get his feet wet, get ready for next year. But other than that, you're not going to. Brian Kelly is not going to put in a backup quarterback just to get him a couple plays and whatnot. He's never done that. So I don't see him doing that now. Yeah, his arm strength, it is what it is. He's not going to, doesn't have a cannon. His mobility is very limited. I mean, he's not going to be Ian Book, who those are some of those hidden yards. Notre Dame's great rush offense the last couple of years is Ian Book scrambling. So yeah, I don't see Buckner getting in except for when they blow out a couple teams down the road.
Yeah, and you would think Drew Pine would get those reps first, and if Brendan Clark is fully healthy, maybe he's third. I don't know. He's that might be later in the season. Buckner was the number 3 quarterback on the depth chart. JD asks, "What do you think about the play calling? Seemed like there was some ups and some downs for Tommy Rees in this game. What do you think, Tim?"
Well, you know what? I'm looking right here. Here's Florida State where they just got within 3. Notre Dame gets the ball back 5.5 minutes to go. Florida State jumps off sides. It's 1st and 5. You tell me you can't get 5 yards. It's 1st and 5. Williams 1-yard run. But I know everyone may think it's conservative. Next play, they try throwing to Michael Mayer. 2nd and 4, incomplete pass. Bad. Ball was low and away to Mike Mayer. 3rd and 4, that's the Carmody sack on the next play. So they get an offsides, 1st down, run the ball. 2nd and 3rd down, they did try passing the ball. They got nothing. So that's just a little snapshot I got right here in front of me. So I thought they tried at times, it just felt like, once again, momentum just took it. When things go bad, sometimes they go bad. And that's sure, I mean, look at Mike Mayer. He catches the ball right before the end of the game there. They kick a game-winning field goal. We don't go to OT. Notre Dame doesn't go to OT. So, a couple things happen. At the end of the day, Mike, Notre Dame won by 3.
Tim, what do you think about this? This is just a personal thing that I kind of feel passionate about. But before we get to that question, we got a super chat from Armand saying, "Great work, team. Looking forward to gelling offensive line and better play calling by both sides of the ball." That's the glass half full look. I know we got a lot of comments that are much more glass half empty, as Notre Dame fans are very passionate. And look, they just want to see their team, play their very best. But a win is a win on the road against a good FSU team. Milton threw the ball pretty well late in that fourth quarter. Travis did not. I still think that's a pretty good FSU team with a really good defensive line. But yeah, I mean, still that offensive line can gel. You just hope that Blake Fisher comes back and is in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, well, that Florida State team is going to go to a bowl game. They're going to win some football games if they play with that heart and that energy that they played with tonight. They're going to a bowl game after 3 years of really bad football there in Tallahassee. And as far as the O-line, I think they're going to gel. I think a little bit is Notre Dame's had some big dudes up front. Corral looked a little obviously light, but he's so athletic and plays with so much energy. Lugg was his typical self. Kane Madden, a little bit obviously different brand of football and whatnot, but I thought he played well. I didn't see Patterson. Probably didn't watch him because I was watching so many of the other new guys, so to speak. So I didn't really concentrate on Patterson as much. But I mean, they're gonna come together. There's no doubt about that.
Another super chat here. Appreciate this, Ian. Please explain our need to run the ball, especially with slow developing run plays. When we pushed it, we scored at will. Something has to change. So, Ian, I mean, are you suggesting an air raid? I mean, Cohen certainly had a good game throwing the football, but I mean, Notre Dame's bread and butter is going to be running the ball, and that's certainly what the personnel suggests with the great tight ends and the running backs. And then the receivers, like we talked about earlier, I don't know. I mean, I like them. I like Wilkins. I like Keys, who didn't really see much at all. I remember seeing him just a little bit. Lorenzo Styles got in there a little bit, but Avery Davis, MIA. Braden Lenzy, 2 or 3 catches on 2 catches on 3 targets. But I don't know. You got to stick with the run if you're Tommy Rees, right, Tim?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're going to do. I mean, that second quarter, it seemed like Brian Kelly was just like, run the ball. It seemed like they ran the ball a lot in the second quarter. And then the third quarter, they got the turnovers. They came out, chucked it up, got the lead and whatnot. But they're going to run the ball. I mean, Brian Kelly wants to run the ball. I mean, they're not going to go, nuts. They're going to do whatever it takes to win. As tonight they threw for 366 yards. So, I mean, they're going to do whatever it takes to win the ball game at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, they're going to run the ball. Kyron Williams is a heck of a football player.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, they got to get he's got to carry 20 times a game. Just watching him, the way he plays and his energy, he's got to touch the ball 20 times a game.
Yeah, we got a comment here. Conan lost his starting job. I feel like Conan is a talk show host. If you're talking about Jack Cohn, I certainly don't think he lost his starting job. Irish AJ, the flea flicker and the quarterback power is the only real suspect calls by Reese tonight, in my opinion. I mean, look, Tim, like if that flea flicker worked and that QB power worked, everyone would be calling Reese a genius right now. It's just one of those things. The QB power one I did not get.
It was 3rd and 5. I think it was 3rd and 5. It's like just throw a 5-yard pass to Mike Mayer, which they had done. It seemed like 12 times going up to that point. Over exaggeration.
I don't get that when that is not his game. But
I'll tell you what.
Book. But
I'll tell you what though, if Zeke Correll he trips, if Zeke Correll doesn't trip, Jack Cohn runs for a first down.
Yeah. Okay.
He really does. And the other thing, when you watch that play, I rewatched that play about 4 or 5 times. The right side had an amazing seal on the edge where they're pulling with Correll and Mike Mayer. And if Cohn just follows outside, he has a first down. He cut it inside, and 20 chased him down from behind on that play. But no, I mean, he was just, all he had to do was run outside. He gets first down. So I know everyone, as soon as it happened, probably everyone freaked out, things of that nature. But that's game one, adjustments. Probably Jack Cohn never ran that at Wisconsin. So, that was something new for him as well.
All right, I'm sure everyone heard the quote by Brian Kelly after the game. I'm in favor of execution. Maybe our entire team needs to be executed after tonight. That certainly was a interesting quote there. But apparently that was Kelly was asked about it after the game. It's an old John McKay quote that he used after the game. So yes, Brian Kelly does not want to execute his players. So just for those who are wondering about that, because I certainly was. I have not heard that quote before. So got a couple super chats to get to here. Find this. Ethan, appreciate the super chat. Yeah. Tackling was sloppy. Should have had so many tackles for loss. Secondary is a worry besides Hamilton. Not impressed with Freeman debut. I think if we had Marcus Freeman on this show, and now that I mentioned it, Marcus, no, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine? I mean, if we had Marcus on here, I'm sure he would say the same thing. I'm not impressed with my debut either. Florida State dropped 38 points and really wasn't that impressive in the passing game. What was their passing stats? Let me pull this.
I mentioned
178
that earlier.
yards.
Right. How much?
178 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Yeah, but
the big play, they had a 90-yard. The 90-yard run was just bad fits. I mentioned earlier the tackles for loss. They had a handful. Go back and rewatch it. They were in the backfield so much and just didn't wrap up, things of that nature. And they're going to get better. That Notre Dame defense, they got some dudes out there. They're going to get better. Yeah. They're going to get better.
Yeah. So the secondary, Houston Griffith, he gave up that touchdown, but that was what, cover one? It was straight
man free. Yeah, Kyle Hamilton in the middle of the field, straight man free.
If you're a safety on a slot,
that's tough.
That's not really what.
And right before that, I know you and I were chatting about how FSU had not taken one shot deep. That was the first time they went up top. Went up top. So.
Super chat here from Ian says your response made my point, Mike. This isn't 2020. Thanks. We got to win. Go Irish. I'm gonna be honest with you, Ian. I have no idea what response I made, but I'm glad it made your point, and I hope I didn't look in it like an idiot on the way to making your point. Brian says, how was there not an intentional grounding call after the ruling of Milton's hands going forward? I've seen this comment a few times. Glad we got a super chat for it so I can make sure we addressed it. Is it? I'm sure you know what the question here is referring to, Tim. Is it a matter of because he was being hit that it didn't?
He's being hit. It's forward action. That's forward action. So he's basically being hit, and the ball's coming out. So it's forward action.
And is it also a matter of intent with the intentional grounding rule?
Yes. Okay. Yes, exactly. So, there's no intent there. He's trying to throw the ball. It's coming out, even though, it looked like he was trying to bring it back in. And you get into the Tom Brady, don't bring up if there's any Raider fans in here with the tuck rule with Tom Brady back in the heyday. But that's what it felt like watching that. I'm like, oh my gosh, Notre Dame's going to